1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, KW. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I'd like to introduce. Yeah, I think we can do better, man. Let's start with that. I'd like to introduce a new recruit that has come to our meeting this morning, Marty. Would like to congratulate Seth and Sarah for doing an absolute wonderful job at our career night this past week. So they brought in 10 recruits from the Wenatchee Valley College career day that we did there. And so we're very, very excited to have all these new recruits in our program. Thank you both for an excellent job. Just the feedback from all of those people was amazing. So today we are going to start with some inspiration. I've got Russ McClellan here, our operating principal. You guys all know Russ, but some other people do not know Russ. I'm going to have Russ. Are we starting with Russ?
Yes.
Okay. So that.
I want to spotlight you, but everything's wrong today. Well, buttons disappeared. It's not my fault. There's usually a spotlight button there, but I'm not losing my mind.
Right before Thanksgiving, 2023. How many people have been in the business a year or less in this room? About 5 years or less. About over 5 years. How many years do you think I've been in this business?
30.
Great hair. I had a lot more hair when I started. I can probably do that. But now I'm aerodynamic, so there's some good things. Fast and furious, my hair on fire. That's why it's all gone. Here's the thing, every year about this time, from Thanksgiving to New Year's Day, is a great time to be appreciate what you have accomplished, appreciate who you are, appreciate the people around you, be grateful that we live in a place that we can get away with doing this for a living. And we have so many things going for us, without getting too deep. It's easy to just go so fast and have these expectations that are almost impossible to meet, because we forgot sometimes, we get so busy, we forget about some of the very basic fundamentals in life. Breathing, that's pretty good. I'm very thankful for breathing every day. So there's people every day that wake up and they're not breathing. Like I had a friend die last week. I had another friend die for that. So it happens, right? Nobody's getting out alive at the end of the day. But while we're here, not to be morbid, I think we should sometimes think about some of these things, because if we're not careful in real estate, what we sometimes prize the most, and are happy about what we're doing the most, can be taken away from us. So often in real estate, between now and New Year's Day is when a lot of people rationalize to step back and to spend an exuberant amount of time with their family, which I'm okay with, but make sure you can afford it. What I've also seen in this business, that people do that because they had a couple closings going into the winter, and then in the spring, they're like, oh my God. Now is the time to take the market. This is what I'll teach you. 34 years is the answer. That's how long I've been in the business. I've been up, I've been down, I've been on the road. Right now, you can do more market share taking than in any other month the next 30 days of the year. Because your competition is going to take that month off. So just think about that. Would you rather be going into the spring 5 levels ahead of where you're at right now, or 5 levels behind where you're at? Because you decide, right? That's the good news about this business. You decide. Nobody decides it for you. I wanted to ask you this. You know what 85% 14 means? 85% of the people in real estate right now have never seen a downward market. They don't know what a shift is. They sure don't know what a recession is. So sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's not a good thing. I'm telling you, this isn't going to be an easy ride. But it's also, that's the opportunity. That's the opportunity. There was like, I think somebody told me this morning, 75,000 people have resigned in the last month from NAR. There's 1 million people in the game, so that's not that big of a number, but still. It's the excitement of the opportunity that we must focus on, because if we don't see that opportunity, we won't know to seize the day. And these are the defining moments in your career. Believe it or not, when the average home on market 20 years ago, guess how long it was? Average home on market across the board. How long did it take to sell a home?
3 months or something, probably pretty long.
6 months. 6 months. That was normal. I started in the business, it was 10% interest rates. They still bought houses. Now, the 6-minute time frame that we had a couple years ago, did that bring some challenges too? I've always said that realtors are funny people. I believe in a balanced market. I believe it occurs one day every 7.5 years. Other than that, we're either bitching about a buyer's market or we're bitching about a seller's market, right? We have to adapt. If you think you can stay the same and be self-employed and be in this business, you have to play red light, green light, because we never really know for sure. You test things, they work, but at the end, these are the questions that you have to ask yourself. What sport do you play? What kind of athlete do you want to be in that sport? Because this is where the rubber meets the road, as they say. This is what defining moments are all about, where you define the moment or the moment will define you. You have to roll your sleeves up and get gritty. And the glamorous side of real estate that we thought, that 6 minutes when we had our friends give us listings and our family give us listings and they sold and I made 15 grand in 5 minutes. I liked that. That was good, but it's not real. It's not sustainable. So what are the best have in common, right? I mean, just in general, not just real estate, but in general. Anybody have any ideas? I know Lois does, because she was an Olympian. What are the best have in common?
Consistency.
That's a big one. Anybody else?
Focus. Resilience.
Focus. Resilience. What?
Realistic.
Realistic.
Systems.
Systems. These are all true.
Adaptability.
Yeah. And then, right? But there's a series of things that people have in common. Do you want to know what I think the number one is? Regardless of what sport you're in, regardless of what you do for a living, if you're going to be the best, you're the best at that.
You gotta say it out loud. You wanna make the biggest change? You wanna make the biggest change, go back to the fundamentals.
Yeah, you want to take a market, let's be real clear. You want to take a market share in the next 60 days? Become the best at the fundamentals. Forget the glamour. Forget about what kind of car you drive, what kind of clothes you're wearing for a minute. Just think about what exactly you have to do every single day. Because I think there's only 2 ways of being. And this is just the reality of a transitional market. See, that's the hardest part, going from a seller's market to a buyer's market, because it doesn't happen in a day. It takes time. And sometimes by the time we realize what has happened to us, we haven't adjusted fast enough. Now we're chasing a dream. We're chasing a mortgage because we fell behind. And many people, the 75,000 people included, and believe me, in January, when those dues are going to be due, we're going to see some people exiting this business. Again, that's the opportunity if you're damn good at the fundamentals. There's no cheating the fundamentals. There's just no hack. There's no pixie dust. There's no never, never land. It's grinding daily to success, or you're out. Now, do you want to sell real estate? Because these are the questions. Now, if you say to me, my sport is a referring agent, great. Then I'm not talking to you. If you say my sport is a part-time agent, great. I'm not talking to you. I mean, I will talk to you, but I like you. And you have a home here. I'm just not saying these things that I'm talking about right now are for people that want to be a professional in their sports. Be the best. That's your quest. This is where you start. Fundamentals. That don't make sense. Is it easier to say than do?
Yep.
Every day I'm working on it. Every single day, I'm like, I gotta do better. That's what I say. When I wake up in the morning, what am I not doing at the level that I should be doing? What's the one thing, this is a very good question for all of us. I do it every day. What's the one thing that if I do this one thing, I'll be on the path to get the results that I want? That's a good question, right? Today, if I could do one thing today, what would it be? Am I gonna make a difference for me? The other big question is, what's the one thing that I'm doing whereby if I stop doing it, nobody would notice? That's called a distraction. It's called vacation. It's called luxury. It's called glamour. It's not called fundamentals. So the question is, are you prepared to get to the fundamentals of your business? Because if you are, you're going to kick everybody's ass. Because the vast majority of people will not do it. That's a fact. I've seen it. I've seen it. And those people that have not seen a down market in 14 years that are facing that, oh, I got that. I'm not trying to scare you guys. I'm trying to show you that there's a massive opportunity. You can be in the business for 1 year and become the best. How many careers do you know that can do that? That's why I call it a sport. Because I can come out of college and be a #1 draft pick and be #1 in the NFL, right? It's possible, not probable, but it's possible. It's hard to do that in the finance world. It's hard to do that in the accounting world. It's hard to do that when I'm a plumber. It's hard to do that in so many industries. But self-employed real estate brokers can be #1 in a year. It's a brand new slate, brand new game, brand new players. And everybody's going to have to ask themselves who they want to become next. Because it does not matter that you won the Super Bowl last year. If you did, it doesn't matter. In fact, those people fall from grace that I'm not as good as I thought I was. That maybe I was given some listings by my family and the market was so strong that it sold itself and I took credit for it because I'm a damn good realtor. Or maybe the average time on market was 6 months, regardless of who you are. But that's the reality of where we're facing. In the next month or so, you decide who you want to be. And believe it or not, the results will be amazing. You do. Last thing I want to talk about is a video about kind of what I was talking about.
Thanks.
Oh, this is, let me speak to this real quick before we play the video. The video is about what I just was talking about, right? It's a little bit of, we often think that I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to work out and I'm going to be in shape, right? I'm going to work out for 5 hours. I'm going to bench press 300 pounds and I'll be in shape. No, I'll be in traction. That's what the next video is about. That's how real estate works. It's about the fundamentals.
So use a kid wrist?
Yeah. Yeah. This is about what I'm going to talk just for 2 minutes about gratitude as we approach Thanksgiving. You know, so often, like I'm very thankful to be here. I'm thankful for oxygen. I'm thankful for all of you. I love all of you. Thankful for my family. That's how we usually think about gratitude. Here's what I'd like you guys to think about as it relates to this or that. Think about being grateful to be in a position where you can help people. Not about what you have, but what you can give. Because in this business, that's what we do. If you can mentor someone to become more successful in their life, you can mentor someone to sell a house that they needed to sell, to find that dream that they want. If you can mentor someone by using your skill sets, your energy, your passion, your knowledge, and give it to someone else. I don't know if you read it when the little cowboy was up there, but it's like teaching, you know, it's like give a guy a fish, teach him to fish, right? Like we have the power to give with generosity, grace, and forgiveness as part of our business plan as real estate brokers. That's so amazing. Most people go to work and they're in a cubicle or they're doing this or doing that. They don't have that power. They're not being thankful that they can go to work in the morning. They're just going to work. So I'm going to tell you, if you're that athlete that wants to be the professional, there's only 2 ways of being. I'm going to say it over and over and over again. You can be obsessed or you can be interested in your profession. That's the only 2 options. If you're interested, you are not a professional, you have a hobby. Ask yourself that. Who do you want to be? Because those people that are obsessed will achieve what they want to achieve. That's where you grind. Because now is the opportunity to grind. So this next video, I think, is just about that concept, right? There's no Simon Sinek, so he's pretty good.
Can't see it, it's loud and it blows our eardrums.
If you want more coaching class, this is for you. You're probably really good at what you coach on. You know how to sell. You just need more people to sell to. In other words, you got an empty case.
Great culture, no matter where we are, no matter how big the organization, is not about intensity, it's about consistency. You can't get into shape by going to the gym for 9 hours. It won't work. But if you work out every single day for 20 minutes, you will absolutely get into shape, right? Intensity is like going to the dentist. It's fixed in time. We know exactly what date we're going. We know how long we're going to be there. And we know that when we come out, our teeth will feel smooth and look pearly. But if that's all we do, all our teeth will fall out. In other words, intensity is not enough. So we're also supposed to brush our teeth twice a day for 2 minutes in the morning and 2 minutes in the evening. What does brushing your teeth do for 2 minutes? Nothing. It does absolutely nothing unless you do it every single day. Can you leave out a day? Sure. How many days can you leave out? I don't really know. How many times do you have to brush your teeth before it works? I don't know that either. And this is why companies don't do it. Because we like intensity. We like things that are fixed in time and easily measured. We want to make leaders. What do? We have a company offsite. We invite a whole bunch of speakers. Everybody gives the event an 8.5. Leaders. No. No. We like intensity. How do we fix broken companies? Reorg. New management. Aha. We can see the results. Layoffs. We love it. Look at the savings. Yeah, in the short term. We love intensity for the simple reason that it's easy to measure and we can calculate the day, we can calculate the time, highly predictable. But it's consistency that is the human part. You know, what does it take to fall in love? Buy her flowers, remember her birthday. Important, but if that's all you do, it won't work. It's the little things. Like when you wake up in the morning, you say good morning to her before you check your phone. When you get up to get yourself a drink, you bring one back without asking if they even wanted one. Any one of those things does nothing. It's the accumulation of all of those things done over the course of time repeatedly that one day someone will wake up and go, oh my God, I love you. It's the exact same thing in a company, which is we do these things repeatedly, which is instead of waiting for Charlie to show up at the meeting who's running a few minutes late and we're all just on our phones waiting for Charlie, he's just running, is he here? Just a few more minutes, okay. Oh, Charlie's here, good, let's start the meeting. Instead, we should have no phones in conference rooms ever. Because you know what happens? We sit in the room and we talk. We go, I heard your mum's in the hospital. Oh yeah, thanks. No, she's much better. Thanks for asking. Yeah, yeah. And that's called building relationships. What does it do? Nothing. It does nothing. But if you do it on a regular basis over the course of time, what ends up happening is you discover that you trust your colleagues, that you love your boss, that you believe to the core of your being that if something is wrong, that they will be there for you. And what starts to happen is you start to be willing to be vulnerable. Vulnerable doesn't mean walking around crying. That's not what it means. What vulnerable means is I'm willing to raise my hand and say, I made a mistake. I'm not qualified for the job that you gave me. I don't know what I'm doing. Without any fear that by revealing those things will you be humiliated or fired. And here's the joke. It's good for business.
The idea, like when I was talking before that, did it sound like I was asking you to work 12 hours a day? 7 days a week? I thought it sounded like that. That's why I put this video after that. It's not about that. It's not about time. It's about efficiency. Oh. All these things right. You do a little bit every day. Get better at it. And you become the master at it. And you become a professional. And then you have the vast majority of people will not do that. They're going to come in one day a week, make 12 calls. Ah, I didn't get a sale. Market sucks. Interest rates are high. Inflation's horrible. The blame game, right? So if you look inward and just gets consistent, you're going to separate yourself from the pack.
Thank you.
It's a lot harder to do on the. That was a good video. That was great.
That was great.
Weirdly great animation. The noses were strange. They had like three little nose points, but anyways, So I think we're gonna get into the just 2 claps at the end. So we're not clapping for a million hours. How about that? New listings. Anna Marie and then Keith has 2. So 2 claps. Hit up, yeah, Kate up at the end.
You gotta say it.
Yeah, we have to say it. So congrats. Oh, where'd my little video go? I can't see Anna Marie. One memento. It always hides itself now. Okay, sweet. And closings for this last week, Amanda and Antonio. Get out of here. Congrats, everybody. And this is a little early for Christmas, but it's my. I text it to every person on closing day. I don't even care what their personality is. They just did it. It makes me happy. So anyways, little tidbit. If you guys aren't subscribed to Mortgage News Daily, they have an app or you can get emails each day. It's fantastic. Michael's talked about it a few times. So boring day for mortgage rates, but that's a good thing. So lowest level in roughly 2 months. So if they put a daily kind of blog post, give you info, kind of break it down into the numbers and, nerdy stuff for our little nerdy clients. So that'll be in the notes if you want to read that. And I'll put the link to the whole article, but, in reality, it kind of just makes you think of this, all the pros to this market. Yeah.
It's important to share
Mhm.
with your buyers and sellers.
Yeah, send it to
It's
everyone.
really good information for you
Mhm.
to print out or have on you, right,
Mhm.
right now.
Yeah, no, it's great. Buy downs, actually having inspections, which everybody should have. But during COVID, it was, you needed a house, you just waived everything and you crossed your fingers that your 1910 house wasn't gonna break. So yeah, that made me very stressed out with all the people. But anyway, so more flexible market. And if you're the people that are actually seriously shopping during the holidays, you have even less competition. So you can get better deals. And then back to this one. So this is Sydney's slide. So according to a recent Zillow study, homeowners are nearly twice as willing to sell their home if their mortgage rate is 5% or higher, and yet 80% of mortgage holders have a rate below 5%. So with the rate increasing, more willing to give up the rate, decreasing, less willing to give up the rate. This is the interest rate lock-in effect. So, yeah.
You guys understand what
Interesting.
this is saying? Okay.
Go ahead, Sydney, why don't you?
Oh, I mean, it's just like pretty interesting. So like if somebody has over 5%, they're more likely to be willing to sell their house, but 80% of people who have mortgages are under 5%.
Mhm.
So that's that's only 20% of all mortgage holders who are in that more likely to sell because they just want to hold on to that great interest rate. It's like creating some value to them to stick with where they're at, even if they're not happy with their home.
Mhm.
I think it's just really interesting to kind of think about people's motivations.
Mhm.
Can we do a class on assumable mortgages?
Yes, absolutely.
Do people understand assumable mortgages and what they are?
We will after the class.
We will after the class. Figure it out. Yeah, we'll just give you no info now. Just come in. I love that. Yeah. Assume them. So yeah, we'll share this, great stuff and just, send it because you usually hear from buyers now that hesitation of oh, rates are high and I'm gonna wait. No. But also do what you want. I'm just here to educate. Don't be one of the pushy realtors. We don't like those ones. You push a little bit. Just
Thinking about it. Guiding, not protecting.
Yeah, but the way to do it is to come from curiosity. Oh, really? So the high interest rates, that's the reason why you're not? Well, could you afford the payment at that? Oh, oh, okay, well, and like, just like
Mhm.
talk, like, ask a lot of questions about it to really understand
Mhm.
what's behind it.
Yeah.
Cause,
Guys, it happened this morning at Starbucks, just coincidentally. A friend of mine said, I had a buyer wanted to buy my house and I want to sell my house, but then they asked me what the rates were, and I said, I think they're super high, and they're like, yeah, we don't want to do that. And I said, well, that's interesting. I said, and she goes, I don't want to buy, I don't want to sell because I don't have to buy. And I got a 2.75% interest rate. I said, that's amazing. What if I could show you how a buyer could assume your mortgage because you bought it less than 2 years ago? And then how I could structure your deal in a way that you would get at least a point lower than anybody else in the market. And now you would have all that money, tax-free money, because you've lived in it 2 years. So there's no capital gains. She's like, what? Are you serious? Had no idea what I was even saying. Just knew that it sounded cool. Because I had something to say. She had an objection, I had an objection handler. Now we can meet.
Yeah.
That was in the drive.
Yeah, and it's surprising how many people don't know, like I work with a lot of first time home buyers and nobody knows what a buy down is. They don't understand. It's just like, oh, interest rates. But you don't know until you know, or you have us to,
Educating you.
push you, guide you, so yeah, fundamentals, know your stuff. Because then it just comes naturally. And then when people say things, you know what to say right away. And then you sound like a genius that knows everything, and then they won't talk to anybody else and they'll just choose you.
or fundamentally just know how to ask good questions,
Yes.
practice asking good questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a fantastic point.
And Sydney's gonna help us with those questions.
Always.
Mhm. All the time. Okay. So differences between last week, this week. So I've split it up into, these are single family stats, and then the next one is vacant land. So, because before we didn't really see that, and there's a lot of land. Most of our office is land listings. It is the season of land and seller financing. So, more pending, same amount of canceled, which has weirdly been that way for, I feel like, months. It's been the same exact number. Back on market reduced, which is nice. Price reductions, so everything's pretty similar. So,
Yeah.
any
You know what I
thoughts?
would like to add to this slide too, just for more reference, is like the total number of inventory, to compare to, because like we're in an increasing inventory right now. Yeah, just interesting to see.
You do the pack out. Maybe, or,
Yeah, I think just like the day you pull this, if you just look up, all residences and anyway,
Mhm.
we can work on the logistics
Yes,
later, but I
we
think
will
that would
get
help
both
us get more perspective on this too.
yeah, for sure.
Cause like they say in like an average market, 30% of houses are doing price reductions each week. So then we can see like, okay, are we above that or below that?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and if anybody else has ideas or just stuff that you want to see that's gonna help you be knowledgeable, we would be happy to add all of the things. So I don't have stats from last week because Northwest MLS, it does stuff. So, it doesn't like to let me do that. So, there's your expireds. So, call them. And I had a little teaching moment last week to where I was teaching, everybody in coaching of this is how you look up expired listings. You can do a search, you can set it as a safe search. Without specifying, you also got to go to history to see if it's been listed since then. Because it's just showing you the expired ones, but it could be active. You don't know. So a little teaching moment for me to remember to tell people that so you don't call active listings. So, anyways, just be aware of that. And if you don't know how to do some Northwest MLS thingies, I'm kind of a nerd with it. So let me know. Can teach you. Okay, after your first 90-hour renewal, how many continuing education hours do you need to complete each time you renew your license? Did somebody say 9? What does everybody say? 30?
30.
All right, how many, is it every 1 or 2 or 3 years? 2? Yes. So this is from, oh, yeah, that was weird. Okay, so this is from the DOL's website. So this is very specifically when you need to renew your 30, how it works. So I never realized before that they give you kind of a grace period. This section down here, these 2 spots, to where if you did more hours like the year before, you can use those hours to go towards your next renewal. So, you know, if there's interesting classes, you know, you can just kind of bank those up for quite a long time.
And actually, I don't think the DOL is sending out notifications anymore. I mean,
Oh, no, I haven't gotten it.
so make sure you log on and check to see when your date is, so it doesn't sneak up on you and you have time to take your hours.
Exactly. And we're switching it just, you know, because mine was renewing February and I didn't even realize till I just kind of did some math. So we're gonna start sending out reminders to you guys like 3 months in advance, just so you're aware, and then reminders each month, because I know doing these classes takes some time. So
Michelle has started to do that already.
yeah, I talked to
Her and
her.
I both emailed her and asked her to do that.
Yeah.
Hey, Ashley,
Yeah.
on that, I've taken a class a couple times now, and I'll give you the information on it, but the guy has, 2 trainings. One is fundamentals, another one's for advanced. But what he teaches is if you have somebody that has a rental property, tells you how to evaluate that for when it's time to refinance and how to reinvest. And it's, up in Chelan, we have a lot of people that do vacation rentals, but it doesn't matter whether it's an overnight rental or just a monthly rental. But I found that class to be really interesting. He's a great teacher, has a great sense of humor, but he also has forms that you can use afterwards for calculating that.
Yeah, that's great.
I'll give you that.
Yes, because a good teacher is, I mean, yeah, I've been in many classes.
Has a rental to show him it's time, when it's time to buy it.
No, that's great. Yes. Love good speakers, good teachers. It makes all the difference. So Santa photos, there's also a Facebook event on Facebook if you want to share it with your people. It's under a Keller Williams North Central Washington page, so you can share that event. And if you would like to sign up, the more people, the better. So even though this looks full, that does not matter. We would like to have snack breaks. So anybody that would like to sign up, that would be wonderful.
Or just show up.
Or show up as well. That's also, because they're gonna be cookie decorating and letters to Santa, and it's just cute and adorable, and photos, and there's babies, and people like babies. So there's a really cute one last year. Yeah.
There's always cute ones.
There are
Always
cute
so cute.
ones.
Yep. I'm in your Christmas brand.
Mhm. I like the panic in your eyes right there. Oh. So yes, come to that. And then you probably noticed the box out there in the lobby for the toy drive. So yes, donate toys. Are you gonna do a toy trip after this?
Yeah, I think I will. I'm just gonna run a Target after this, and then we can schedule one for like the whole office next week if people are gonna go. But if anybody wants to go with me to Target to get some toys for the toy box, let me know. It'll be pretty quick because I got other stuff to do. So quick little Target run.
And if you do not have kids like me and you don't know what kids like at different ages, this literally I don't know. So this is a pretty good guide to 8th graders drinking Dutch Bros. How old is that?
For sure.
Was it 14?
12, 13.
I think Nerf guns are all ages, right?
Yes, Nerf guns are all ages for sure. Oh, Dutch Bros at 14. Dang.
I know, where's, it doesn't say iPhone on there.
Actually didn't read these before. These are kind of interesting. Flying balls / UFOs.
I love the Axe body spray.
Flying balls, UFOs, military themed toys, Breyer horses. That must be a good brand.
Oh, yeah.
These are interesting. LOL surprise ball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
you'll have
it's
to.
it's a thing that comes with it, and then like you just don't know what, like,
Oh, yeah.
there's like all of these toys that are just like surprises. You buy the thing and it's like the miniatures and like there's a bunch of like weird surprise things that are toys. Yeah.
It's fun.
Really?
That's great. Okay, this is fun. You can read the rest of that later. That's awesome. Holiday party, white elephant, gift exchange, which reminder, I actually was a little nerdy yesterday and looked up the definition of white elephant. And now I can't remember it because I'm not good at, if the info's not in front of me, I don't remember it. But essentially it's like a gift that's supposed to be like burdensome or stupid or like really like, yes. And I love that. And I really like, don't bring us candles. Like, don't bring candles, bring weird stuff. Go to the thrift store.
Clean out stuff in your house you really don't.
Yeah.
want.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So I am excited for that. So, yeah, I'm overly excited. I haven't found anything stupid yet, but I'm gonna be on the hunt here real soon. Cute love. Book club. So, our Amanda right here in the front has started book club for winners. It's a branded name now. So this is the next book. What you said this was starting January?
Yeah, January 8th. I'm opening this up to the public. So basically anybody who wants, personal or business growth. We're just going to go through different books on mindset and business and that kind of stuff. And they'll be opened up to the entire community. So when actually or anybody around, Zoom Monday mornings at 8:30. Ooh, is it 8:30 or is it 8?
I think you put 8:30 on the Eventbrite thing.
Okay.
But you know, this 8 p.m. Ashley error.
I might change it to 8 because I want people to be able to get to work on time. But anyways, it'll be a 30-minute Zoom. We're reading about 60 pages a week, so it's really slow just for people with busy schedules. They can keep up with it. And then on that Monday Zoom, I ask everybody to bring like one question or something that they've read about that they want to like talk more in depth about. And that's it. That's the format.
You just become a winner.
Yeah.
We're already winners. Love that. And yeah, QR code, we'll have that. There's an Eventbrite link that shows all the days. And if you have questions, Amanda is your lady. Family reunion. 2 great speakers, Mel Robbins and Tony Robbins. Freaking exciting. So yeah, and the learning. So
I'm
come
working
to
on
that.
sponsorships for that, so please
Yay.
contact me if you would like to go.
Yes, for sure. I don't think we have a Michael because it's Thanksgiving week, so he is just not here. Rude. I'm allowed to give him crap like that. We were at the Realtor Fun Night, and you know I always say he's my favorite, and I embarrass him and he turned red. We did it at the same time. We pointed at each other and said, "You're my favorite." They were so good. Does anybody have their own little mortgage minute? Any little knowledge or tidbits or anything you would like to share? You can just be your own little Michaels. No little Michaels today. That's fine. November calendar. So as always, these are kind of our classes each week. And today.
Ignite tomorrow was supposed to be canceled, I think.
Oh, that totally makes sense. What are we canceling this week? It's Thanksgiving. I didn't, you know, if you want to be an overachiever, you can just show up and we'll teach you something. I'll be here. Yeah, so, but today we are having contract class form 46. What is a 46? I don't think I've ever heard of that one.
I
don't know.
Yeah, I think that is a typo. And it was a typo from the Northwest MLS. But I have 5 really good looks at different ways for the buyer's broker's agreement.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, let's take, how many have brand new buyers that you already have your buyer broker agreement? 1. All right, January 1, you don't get paid if you don't have one. Is that enough reason?
Yeah, pretty good.
All right.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, little tech tip, because I know this has driven multiple people nuts and they hide this in a really stupid spot, so you don't really know where to find it. So if you have a listing and you're under contract and that deal falls through, if you click this little, what do they call that? A little downward carrot thing. If you hit add version, you can put like new mutual or whatever the name of your new mutual is. And then you can go between the two. So it will empty out all of the forms that were in there and it'll give you a blank slate to put all of your new documents. So you don't have to create a new opportunity. You don't need to mess with any of that. So it's fantastic because I know a lot of people have struggled with that because it's a hidden button. It drives me nuts. But anyways, there's your little tip for the week. Broker's tour. Estella and Nicole had me wake up early last week and it was fantastic. And Sydney, you usually go.
I try to go whenever I can, yeah.
Yeah. So, but you and Nicole are a pretty core little group.
Yeah.
So if more people would like to join the group, we have fun, and seeing houses is nice and knowing
I
what's
imagine there's
out there.
probably not gonna be a lot tomorrow though.
Yeah, no. Yeah, not tomorrow. Yeah, you can take Thanksgiving. Are you going tomorrow?
Probably.
Yeah.
There was 2 houses last week. It was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. There was a lot of Malaga last week.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, we had a 3 little Malaga. Well, we missed the last one because
We didn't get there on time.
yeah, no, it's fine. Well, that's all I've
Let me
got.
just add something at the end. Next week, we're gonna be talking about the new agent and team value proposition that we put together for all of our new agents. So I'm gonna be talking about that. And then I've also put together a vendor packet. And so you have any vendors you want to present in front of us or would like to get involved with any of you or with the Wenatchee Market Center, there will be a vendor packet that you can present to them. So we're gonna be talking about that next week, so you won't want to miss it. Thank you. And let's do a 2-clap KW. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, everyone. I hope you enjoy your week and go get them. Ready?
I didn't know which one of us was leading it, so I was just patiently waiting. It's fine. Bye, Anne Marie. Oh, it's gone. All right. See you later.
It's a vision
Okay, don't end it because then we're connecting the thing. Okay.
Yeah.
As a teacher on my way.
So it's all ready to sign in when you sign out.
You'll have to practice this for when I'm gone in December. Oh, well, you'll kind of be.
There's one, but I'm not.
Yeah, what are we
We're,
gonna do?
we're not, we don't know about sales really. They said they weren't gonna be
Any contracts there?
I can do them remotely. Oh, thank you.
You have your mouse? Oh, it's. Oh, this is what we took.
Well, it was one to the down.
You have a better chance.
Yeah, because somebody else from the just around me. And
So somebody else is going to do it. Okay.
well, I can't imagine us skipping it.
All
We'd be
right.
skipping it like. So,
Then I'll need to do a contract class remotely.
I mean, or it could be skipped. I don't know. Yeah, we haven't really talked about it yet. So, how I can.
Yeah, yeah. How's the light?
It's been a good
No,
all overall, so.
I mean.
pretty good.
Trying to, yeah. Yeah, I'm up in Chelan half the time, which is fun. We're gonna do, his cousin that wants to host this year, so we're gonna go to her house for a little bit, and then my parents' house for a little bit. And then we always go shopping, just cause it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Black Friday. Probably just gonna go. Have dinner with your mom. and
To see where the people go, because you like to see.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that, really.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine, Nicole.
Yeah, but, there you go.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, so.
No, cause I don't know where she moved.
You're gonna go camping yet?
My brother,
He was like,
Like,
cousin or
he lives in
uncle
New
or
Harbor.
something like that too.
So it's Northingham.
Okay, because, a lot of our,
Island,
but see, that was her second husband.
Okay, a lot of our family is from Montana.
Maybe it's because nobody's on there.
And that's.
Okay.
That's
Well, when they're on there, if you want to see who it is,
Yeah.
then you would just hover above this. Go
Okay. If I show, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But I think it might just show up. So,
and then-
yeah, you're good to go now with whatever. And my charger.
Yeah. It was a weird name too. Yeah, it's a little weird name. I can't. That'll be fun, my. How are, oh man, they were wonderful people. I know their names, but.
That's good.
No.
What were your clients' names?
Oh, the teacups.
Yes.
The ones that you show around.
Yeah.
Yeah, they closed down.
Yeah, how are they liking their new home?
Oh, they love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The thing they wrote for you, I thought that was really sweet.
They're like kind of hard to read, but
It's
they're.
gonna end up just being here.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But for now, I'm just gonna put it here because I might need to edit.
Oh, okay. Neighbors. Perfect. Neighbors.
All right.
I'm like, no. Housewarming party.
Let's get started and then, once we're done, we're done. And there's no one on Zoom, so it's just us. And I have to say that, when was the date of this? This was the end of October. Kyle is in the audience today, and he said I could use this example because this is the counter offer example from hell.
Kyle, so gonna be proud of you, man, it's real.
I'll take the example what not to do. No, Kyle did everything right, as we'll see here in just a second.
No, that was the other engine.
But,
Oh,
do you? Yeah.
what a mess.
So when we submit, a fresh, clean purchase and sale agreement, we really don't like it to look like that. And that, see, now these black ones are mine because I tried to kind of protect the innocent. But anyways, if you look at this, and there's another one that's even better. Okay, so Kyle submitted this. So now the seller is going to submit a counter back to the buyer. So did they fill the top part out? Right.
Oh, no.
No, because it's going to the seller and they're the ones sending it. So that was just the first thing. And Kyle corrects it. And then from then on, they left it. I don't know. Somebody, whoever taught them, didn't show them how to do this. Okay, so here's the first one back. And look at this. Okay, so when we have, and there's nothing wrong with taking a counter and putting a red line through it. But if there are things on the counter that you agree with, then what do? you bring it forward, because it may not, you may not remember. Okay, so here was, did I miss one? It might not have been included. Okay, so now the, let me look at this. Okay, so this is from the buyers. Kyle did this perfectly because they're the undersigned and they go on line 4. Okay, so now we have everything before that was still typed, but with a line through it, it means nothing. So they only brought forward 2 things. And once again, then this is the last one, but you notice it was from the seller to the buyer, and of course they didn't fix it. They didn't have it correct. Now, this one right here, let me see. Oh, no, wait, no, I apologize. Help me out here. Was this one from you guys back to the seller? I think this is the one.
No, I think that says Laura Mounder at the top.
Oh, it does. Okay. Oh, that is so handy. So if you notice,
A lot of moving parts of this.
if you know, well, first of all, there were 2 deals, and if one didn't go through, the other didn't go through.
Hey, Marcia, but one thing is, the standard of care of a lawyer, which we're held to, what's the number one thing? Make it clear.
Okay,
And
so
that's what
now,
forms are designed, and when this starts happening, that fundamental goes out the window for failing to read this with minimal standard of an attorney under our license.
so see all
You're
these,
trying to correct it every time, and they send it back and mess it up.
see all these changes that are here. What if everything here is not brought forward into the next counter? Is it still in the contract?
No.
Because what does the counter offer do?
It succeeds everything.
You take your original template, your contract and all your addendums, and you can keep a counter and mark through it. It kind of keeps track. You can also put it at the bottom of it, so it's in the deal.
Or you can remove it and just keep it in your transaction file.
Which is the best way to do it. But if you're working with people that are confusing. So you notice right here, closing date, they've changed. Balance, and this is a seller finance, so they give the day of the balloon payment. But what about all these things right here?
So what that means is how that offer is written means everything in the original PSA is standing except for those handful of things on the very last one.
That's right.
The very last one.
This one was not marked out. So I'm assuming they thought they were going to go forward. And so on this particular one, then this is all that's because it's a brand new form. Okay. So do you remember, were there some of those from that second page that went forward, or they assumed that they were going to work?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So there was, what is it? The agent and I created a mess, and we had talked about this deal fell apart, but we agreed that we were going to clean up the purchase and sale to make it crystal clear of what exactly the set of instructions to escrow is.
Yeah. Because how confusing would this be to escrow?
Yeah.
Because they don't
No,
know.
Vanessa, being an escrow for so many years. What's it like for an escrow broker?
It's really hard. We try to ask also that to make sure we have all the addendums. But it makes it hard for us to know what was actually eliminated and what was kept.
So you want the final agreement crystal clear. And on this final one here, then this is, and this deal did fall apart, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
Yeah.
Feasibility and home inspection.
Yeah.
And can I ask you, you're representing the buyer?
Correct.
Did you call the selling agent and kind of have a conversation about what you thought might be?
So this is, I think there's like a total of like 6 counter offers altogether over like 3-week period or something like that.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
yeah.
It's a complex
There was
deal.
a lot that went into
Yeah.
this, a lot to argue about.
You know, for seller financing, you just really have to negotiate that out. Your first proposal for your buyer is a beginning point.
Yeah.
Because for sure, they're gonna come back and talk to you about interest rate, what type, is it a contract or is it deed? And so, in January, Tom, I'm committing you to a class to come back in and help me with seller finance. And just so that you have fair warning. All right,
Okay.
so this is why, let me see if I can't separate these out here. This is why it is really, really important on every template that you have in your transaction desk, you should have this right here. Am I representing the buyer or am I representing the seller? Because this is really our attorney, Russ's attorney for this office, set this up. So this, if you are from the seller and you're going back to the buyer, it should say very first, right up here, after other, this counteroffer takes precedent or supersedes any conflict or ambiguity in the original purchase and sale agreement body. And you know, when they change things in different addendums, but they don't ever bring it forward, it is not changed because it's not agreed to, or it's not unless it's fully initialed on those additional addendums. And then how confusing is that? So we really need to be very careful. If you are the buyer and you're responding to a counteroffer and you take theirs out, then you want to say this counteroffer addendum takes precedent or supersedes any conflict or ambiguity in the original purchase and sale agreement body and the seller counteroffer. So if that had happened up here, then anything on that second page, it doesn't matter. Because this is all that matters right here.
Okay, I want to dig into something you just said. Okay, so I have seen where, you get a counter offer, and there's things on that, and then even the things that are on that, then they're back and initialed in the PSA. Is that that's unnecessary, right? To initial in both places?
Yes, that is correct. If it's identified in the counteroffer, you should never touch the
Never touch
body.
everybody.
Okay, and then,
Or initial, if they did, just ignore it. Only
okay,
what you bring forward, that makes it clear.
okay, because you can also change something in a PSA by just changing it and having both parties initial. Say
Yes.
the only thing you want to change is the closing date, something really simple without doing, just changing it and initialing
And
it,
then you
that's
wouldn't-
also okay.
Yeah, you could do that on, I think that would
A
be,
very simple
yeah.
change, not,
yes.
yeah.
And Amanda, the one thing to really make it clear
Mhm.
is the worst thing you can do in a contract is say something twice.
Yeah.
Okay, because that creates an ambiguity, and if you have a good attorney, they'll say that contract apart,
Okay.
so it made it ambiguous and therefore it's
Perfect.
irrelevant. You only want to say something one time, and so if it's already said in the contract, you don't want to turn and repeat it, regurgitate it somewhere else.
That's good to
It's
know,
only
because
said once.
I just did a counter offer and we did both. We did the counter offer and the initials, but really it's unnecessary and actually better not to.
It's better because then the final agreement is there and that supersedes
And that
the
takes
body of the
precedence.
agreement.
Right there.
And another thing, and there are times I really try hard not to be bitchy.
She does. I can translate a good side.
One of the main reasons, and see, my blood pressure is already up just thinking about it. When the reason, and you triggered something, Amanda, the reason we do not include a Form 17 in with a contract is because of the attorney language. And if you go and you file suit or do anything like that, you have two different languages of what happens. Form 17, you can get, I mean, you can it's very different. You do not want that attached to your contract. And so when you do, then you have two different attorney privilege or paragraphs about going after something. And it's just very confusing and it's not good. If you must deliver the Form 17, which we really recommend you don't, when you deliver that contract, that offer, and it becomes mutual, the listing broker has 5 days to deliver their version, even if it's uploaded to you by email. That protects your buyer.
That's called delivery.
That is delivery. So don't, and then sometimes I've seen it where you put in 22D, seller shall deliver within 5 days of mutual, and it's part of the contract. Well, what kind of a moron is that? That wasn't very nice. Anyway.
Well, the thing about Form 17 is it's not a real estate form. It's a statute for the state of Washington. It's Washington state law. We're writing a real estate contract. It's like oil. It's like water. You deliver them, put them in with each other. They don't belong. It creates rights for reimbursement of lawyer fees that aren't there. By joining it in, it gives that right to them. And so you don't want to risk that. You're supposed to be protecting your client, not creating greater risk for them for lawsuit.
Okay,
So don't do it.
how about if you're a listing agent and Form 17's been uploaded to supplements and you get an offer and it has it attached to it?
I pull it out.
Just pull it out immediately.
Yeah, and then don't send it back.
Okay,
Yeah.
when you have your client sign everything and send it back, got it?
Right, because Amanda, if you go to the RCW, which actually has a Form 17 written on it, it says the seller shall fill out and deliver to the buyer 5 days within mutual. That's law, state law. Having it uploaded into associate documents, that's great. But delivery is constituted by the seller giving the broker and delivering to the broker for the buyer.
So best practice.
And if that's not done within 5 days, that buyer can get out of that deal all the way up to closing.
Okay, so best practice is
And
that,
you're protecting the buyer's rights if you're on the buyer's side. And the seller, you're protecting the seller on the seller side by making sure they deliver within 5 days. So it's a terrible form as far as rights of a contract with in a real estate brokerage term. It has nothing to do with real estate. It's a law.
A good rule of thumb, especially if you've had the listing for a little while, is to be able to, you call up your seller and you say, I've heard from the other broker and offers coming in. I'm going to email you the Form 17 that you sent me. Would you just review it and make sure everything is up to date?
Exactly.
And then on the last page, if you can, if you would just initial and date it, then we will deliver the updated Form 17 to the buyer's broker as soon as we get mutual or within 5 days.
You know, as a listing broker, you're protecting your client as the seller, because if it's an old form they filled out a year ago and there's something that's changed and that's delivered, and it turns out that it's not factually true, they're now at risk. They can come back. But if they initial it and said they review it, to best of their knowledge, that's what's true today, and then deliver that, they have now protected it.
and so,
No, go ahead.
so best practices is, as soon as you go mutual, you're emailing over Form 17 and title. Right, those are the two documents that would be after.
Well, you'll request when you open up escrow, you'll request title. And if you put, all you need to do is the Form 17 and the Form 22K to have it be complete. And for compliance, what does complete mean?
Filled out in its entirety.
Every utility that's identified and that has the ability to lien, then you need to have their name, street address, city, state, and zip code. That's it. You can put the website, you can put the phone number. Why they don't ask for that, I don't know, but.
That's another example of a state statute, state law is that form. That is not a real estate form. we're required to follow state law, so we're required to make sure our clients comply with it to protect them. That's our job, to protect them.
So when you get an offer and you get a blank one, then they can go ahead, your seller can sign it, and then you have 5 days to get that back to them.
But the law is very wishy-washy because it goes on to say, if the seller does not fill that out, it's okay for the buyer broker to fill it out. So then the selling broker can say, well, you fill it out, and you get back, who's gonna fill it out? The law is not written very well, it's ambiguous, and it's something, if the listing broker does not fill it out, as buyer broker, protect everybody and make sure it's filled out correctly.
Is it required on vacant raw land?
Only if there's power,
Only if it's been hooked up.
only if there's utilities.
In
Yeah.
vacant lot land, the answer would be no, but if they have put in the septic, if they brought power and hooked it up, then all of a sudden, yeah, you need that.
Are we talking about a Form 17 or a 22K?
22K.
Okay.
But they're both state law and statute, not real estate contract. Yeah, it's very murky and not a lot of brokers are really educated on it, and so it's something that's a big one. That's why it's important for us to make sure we, because that's our fiduciary responsibility for our clients. to protect them.
So you had a question, Colin.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, so if a buyer broker sends us, the listing agent, a purchase and sale with the Form 17 attached, that Form 17 is, you know, signed around by the seller and the buyer, and we're gonna go mutual on this contract by my seller signing. You know, I can remove that Form 17 from the purchase and sale and then send it back over to, you know, like, hey, we're mutual, congratulations, yada, yada, yada. Do I, as the listing agent, with that signed Form 17 separated out, still need to send it over to the buyer's agent?
I would, but I would do what Marcia said, I'd have the seller just review this, to make sure there's no changes from the day that you fill this out.
Well, he's talking about after going mutual. You don't need to because you've already signed it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was just looking to
As
verify
long as
that.
all the signatures are on it, I don't think you need to send it back.
You don't need to, but it'd be nice to dot the i's and cross the t's. I mean, I'm just a assistant on contracts. I've had too many weird things when lawyers get involved. It bothers me. So, but the thing is that, 9 times out of 10, maybe 9.9% out of 10 of the letter comes through.
Not one time.
But at that point, it's already been signed fully around.
It's time fully around.
Yeah, but I think what happens is that they originally doing the listing, they answer it one way and then they gain some knowledge through the listing process. And then when they go mutual on the transaction, they may actually have answered different on some of the questions, I think is the problem.
But
That's the risk.
but they pulled it off, yeah.
See, okay.
So I would just,
Say you do that.
yeah.
Everything's fine.
Mhm.
And a year after that transaction happens, one of the neighbors talks to the new buyer that just bought the house
Mhm.
and said, oh, we talked about that with them. You know, well, you guys were, you know, before you bought the house and sold it, and they buried that line and it broke and it nicked all over the street, and then, you know, they had to fix it.
So essentially,
They go, really?
to protect
That's
yourself.
not what it says on this. And we signed it all the way around. So that was fraud. You didn't update it.
So essentially.
Now we have a problem.
What you're saying is when you upload it to supplements, upload a raw one without a signature on it.
Why upload it?
So people, because
really.
I don't want people asking me to see a form, I don't want 50 agents asking me to see a Form 17 on a house.
So let's get neutral. No, I'm serious.
I like seeing them as a buyer, like going into it. I feel
Yeah.
Like, it's the water,
Yeah,
like,
like-
how transparent is the seller being? 'Cause I feel like I can read through and be like, okay, this person's
That's
kind
kind
of,
of state law.
Like, I don't get-
Mutual, I have 5 days to have my seller fill it.
Do you want to go through that work, going mutual though? I mean, like as a listing agent, I don't want to go mutual with a buyer. I'm here now pending. And then they're gonna look at a Form 17 and all of a sudden I'm back.
next year.
Yeah, no,
it's
I'm
gonna
back
be
on.
the same.
Though, I mean, I don't want to dig out on the table right away.
Yeah.
You know, so otherwise Form 17's change minds sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't see any reason to hold back on it. I
Yeah.
want everybody to be able to see it.
Yeah. But I guess what I'm saying is, so the way to keep yourself out of legal trouble, because I'm assuming as a listing, we're all having our sellers fill it out and sign it and putting it on supplements. And what's happening is a buyer's agent is pulling that from supplements, putting it into the contract.
The contract.
Yeah, and signing it. So now that 17 is fully signed around. So the only way to protect yourself from being fully signed around there is when you put it on the supplements, do not have your seller sign it. And then once you go under mutual, then you send them
That
whatever.
would be a better way of going. If you must upload it, then that would be a
Yeah.
better way of going, because I've been, as a buyer broker for 12 years now,
Yeah,
I have never given Form 17 to my client before this.
yeah.
I'm protecting it because I want to have 5 days go by. And if it's not turned in 5 days after mutual, I just got to get out of jail free card for my client. Why would I take that away from them?
Oh, I see your angle like that.
Yeah.
Why would I do that?
Well,
I have a fiduciary responsibility to my buyer. I want to look at everything that I can to help them through this transaction. And if they say, oh, I want to get out of this, then I got to go, how can I get them out of this? What are my tools? Well, I just threw one tool, right? I have them sign it before even mutual. I have
yeah,
to
but
sign
you
it.
also said that if it's uploaded on,
Why would I do that?
if it's uploaded, it's not considered delivered.
How does the buyer even know there's a Form 17? 9 out of 10, they don't even know what one is unless I tell them. I say, read the contract. In the contracts, that's what the contract is.
Okay, question, and you might have said it the same way, and I zoned out a little bit, so I apologize. But, okay, so here's the part that's always kind of tripped me up. Is a lot of times you see a listing, they have Form 17 in the supplements, it's there. But,
If they can't see it, I never tell them the story.
well, yeah, but everybody goes to the supplements, it's where we get. the
Everybody,
people.
every broker goes to the
So, but here's my thing, if they upload it, and then they're just expecting us to go in there and have it signed, and we don't, so we're saying you didn't deliver it within 5 days. So then I'm like, okay, buyer, we can back out. It doesn't say in the purchase, it's not a part of the purchase and sale, the purchase and sale says what delivery is considered. But on the state, I mean, could they just argue, like, you saw it was there, you went to
State law
supplements.
says you shall deliver within
But
5
does
days.
deliver to them mean I put it in supplements where it's
No.
in?
No, it's not
Does
delivered.
it specify that?
Does
Cause I'm trying to think of like when it goes to a legal thing.
How do you prove that they downloaded it?
You see supplements after listings are done. They stay there.
Oh, I understand that, but how do you prove that the other broker downloaded it?
And gave it to the buyer. I don't really think of deep in this thing, but it's pretty clear. Most buyers have never heard of Form 17 stuff, unless they're a lawyer. But why would I give that to them when I know that I have 5 days to get out of jail free card?
I guess if you put on the 22D to deliver it, then that. Okay.
So I guess it's just, I'm just trying to keep it simple.
Yeah, I know, I get a little.
State law says that seller shall fill out a Form 17 and deliver to the buyer within 5 days of mutual acceptance. State law.
So that's an RCW, it was 5 days.
Northwest MLS, right? Has nothing to do with it.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess I just like the
So why smush it in there?
definition.
If you're a listing broker, why put it up there and have a buyer broker turn around and now you have a problem with them trying to stuff it into your contract, which now makes it ambiguous for what the lawyer rights are for being able to reimburse a lawyer for their fees. Because that's what happens when you take Form 17 and stick it in a contract. Not good.
So do RCWs supersede the NAR documents that we fill out?
Well, they have different type of law, but you're talking about a statute, legal law versus a commercial contract. A commercial contract between two parties, which you are a facilitator of.
I'm following you.
So why would I take these two and put them together? It creates power. People, right, they're designed to be separate keys. No problem.
Okay,
Very clear that way.
So if you were to use the failure to deliver Form 17 within 5 days as a get out of the transaction card for a buyer, escrow, the set of instructions escrow would follow are the RCW.
Yeah, they're still gonna ask for a rescission form.
Oh, yeah. Not rescission, but they'll ask for that Form 50 if it retains. Because you can get out of it by notice. Notice only has to be signed by one party, not by both parties. That's why you want to use the right form. 51 is a rescission agreement. It has to be signed by not only both parties, but also both brokers. But if you follow the contract, you give a notice. And if you give a notice, that terminates the contract, which is the right. And you don't need to have some other party sign it. Once you have a notice that's terminated, a rescission would be terminating a terminated contract. That's how you kill someone who's already dead. So you already killed it with a notice. Form 50 releases retainage. You're done.
And by the way, you may get away with that, but from the escrow standpoint, title standpoint, what they're going to want is signatures from both sides of the agreement.
Which Form 50 does.
Okay, yeah, but the one that only has the one signature on it,
That's the notice.
the notice, yeah. A lot of times when escrow would get that they felt was not sufficient because it wasn't, if we have earnest money, we want specific instructions on this first one.
And that's Form 50 does.
Right.
That's the purpose.
Sometimes it doesn't show up altogether, and sometimes they will say, well, we only, because they, but, yeah. But escrow does need to have the instructions for this.
That's right. And so for Northwest MLS, when you go through, the legal training with contracts with Annie Fitzsimmons, you have the notice to terminate, you give the Form 50 to give instructions to the escrow officer to how to disperse.
Is there a pre-filled form for notice to terminate via
Yes.
failure to submit a Form 17?
Yep.
Okay.
And if you ever like it, we've done it in class before, but I have a matrix of all the notice forms. There's 65 of them. That's probably why you don't have them memorized. And I have them sorted by form for notice forms, sorted by contract form, and what notice form to use. So it's easy to find which one to use for which form. If you like those, I'd be happy to.
So I'll come find you if I ever need to do this.
I would love to. I've had this for a long time.
Yeah.
But it makes it that I've been down this road so many times. It's so frustrating to find the right notice form. I said, all right, that's it. I went through every notice form there is in Northwest MLS. I made a matrix out of it. That's what I use.
Incredible. Thank you for deep diving.
Yeah.
So, if you can't find the right one, 90 is blank, and then you write in, the buyers have, you can put in there, the buyers are terminating because of blah, blah, blah. That doesn't mean that they'll always get the earnest money back, and there may be some negotiation. If it's past any of their rights to terminate, if it's past those dates. Does that make sense? So you have inspection for 21 days and they terminate on day 28. We just had one 2 weeks ago. It was a huge family tragedy. And it was a large earnest money, earnest money for me, $6,000. If you're buying a house, that's large. And they just needed to get out of it. And, oh, that's my half hour. So, anyways, you can use that blank one pretty much for whatever, but what that is giving notice. You're terminating the contract. Does that mean the buyers will always get their money back? No, you need to negotiate. How long has that been off the market? Has there been a lot of people that they've had to come in and out? And so, I mean, that really depends on that. I just want to touch on a couple of these. If any of you've been in my class, when I do this person is blah, blah, blah. Anyways, he wants to know if he should have an attorney write up an addendum to protect him if they go to a non-exclusive. Well, a non-exclusive means that you can go to another broker. So right here, the answer is, appears the broker is looking for a supplement to make a non-exclusive agreement an exclusive agreement. So just go for the gusto, just go for the big one. And if you feel like you can win them over and they only feel comfortable at the beginning of it with a non-exclusive, then you certainly can do that, but you need to protect yourself. Broker has signed a valid buyer agency agreement for the payment. The buyer and seller put a deal together without including anybody. The original broker is gone. Can the firm sue for that commission because they put the two people together? the buyer agency agreement is a contract between the buyer and the firm. We just need to remember that listing contracts, agreements. It's with KW Realty, North Central Washington, West McClellan, and then we're assigned as a sub-agent. Buyer, if the buyer owes compensation, then she goes on to say, you can go for it because you've got an agreement. And if you want to do that, then you can do that even if the original broker is gone. In 2024, is the state saying the seller cannot pay the buyer's agent, or are they saying the buyer's agent cannot sue to collect a commission? Effective January 1, 2024, brokerage firm is not entitled to collect compensation. Did you hear that? Not entitled to collect compensation unless the firm has a brokerage services agreement with its client, either a listing or a buyer's. That's it. It's very clear. Neither escrow nor the listing firm will police this issue. If the buyer broker's firm submits a claim for compensation to escrow, like we do right now, there are many buyer brokers that don't ever get a buyer's agreement. It will be paid without anyone asking for proof of the buyer broker's firm having a service agreement. However, Department of Licensing will be auditing firm files for compliance with a requirement to have a brokerage service agreement in the file, and buyers will have a civil right of action against any firm or broker that fails to enter a brokerage services agreement with the consumer before or as soon as reasonably practical after provision of real estate brokerage services. I think that's pretty clear. And if you're working with a buyer right now, in your next and you don't have a buyer's agreement, get one. Don't be submitting a buyer's agreement that's dated November 20th and your offer is dated November 21st. Have that be in there when you start to provide those services to protect the brokerage and you and your client.
So I have a question, and maybe this has been covered, I apologize, pass. So if like day of, let's say you just met these clients, you're earning some trust, you get out, you show them one house. They're the clients that buy that first house, right? They want to write an offer. Can you get a buyer's agency agreement and write that up, the same time as that offer? Because that just seems,
So how often, what are the odds of that happening?
It's happened to me half a dozen times.
That's fabulous. So in that instance, when you go into command and you submit it and there's a place there to put a note to me, I read all the notes and just say, first day with the buyer, they signed it, the buyer's agreement, and then we wrote an offer that same day. Just let me know that then note will be saved for the auditor.
Okay.
And that will protect you from.
Yeah, because it looks strange, right?
Yeah.
So.
Well, it looks fabulous. Yeah. But questionable.
Yeah.
But that's a good question. Yes,
Okay.
There are always exceptions, but I mean, how many of you, and you say that's happened to you several times?
It happened to me 3 times last year because I had a Redfin agent who was calling me and give me their leads.
Oh.
And because she couldn't work the area. So they weren't even ready. They didn't have the information, but what I found is they were ready to bounce, like she didn't gather a bunch of information, prep them. I did everything from the prep.
Yeah.
Then day one, we looked at a house and it was the one. It happened to me twice last year. And in the last like 9 months, it happened twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's happened quite a few times before that too, I would say. So
that's amazing.
I'm short. I make houses look bigger than they are.
Isaac is great. Okay. Okay. So basically this is saying, it's November. I have a buyer's agreement or I don't, and I've written this offer, we're mutual, we're gonna close after the first. Does that mean that at the first I have to go to all my buyers and get them to sign the new form? And that is no. An agency agreement need not be signed if the PSA is fully executed prior to January first, even if the transaction closes after January first. We're practicing. You know, that's why we're new habits. You form new habits and then they form you. All right. Just like, oh. Okay. In your class, you mentioned getting proof of delivery of the law of agency. I drive the point home several times a year about law of agency and when it is to be delivered. I have countered on the boilerplate verbiage in the PSA to be proof of the client's receiving the pamphlet. Are you saying in this climate that's not enough? If it is not, is there a reason we do not add initials to the pamphlet first? So honey, what do you do the first day you show them anything before you talk about anything?
To give them the form and explain there's 3 types of brokers and we have to change the law. And then before I show a piece of property, I just need to have them initial it. Actually, I made an extra 1 page and put it on top, so it was 2-page ones. And they initially, I take this one and give it to them.
And so there it is. It's
And
done.
Initial and date.
Yep. And then on your
Pile of
and a really good practice on the back, write their names out so you remember who
Yeah,
they
that's good. Afraid to scan it that day, get back next week and go. I'll read their name.
Okay, so the revised law requires the broker to have proof of delivery of the pamphlet, which by the way, our new pamphlet is awesome. It's just really good. If broker's office already has a policy in place for noting the consumer receipt, broker should operate within the firm's policy. And we do. We just, when you have that new listing or you have that new buyer, we want to see an initialed form of a pamphlet from the for the agency law. Stop me if you have a question.
And a 42, right? Both.
Yes. Because that just,
It's redundant, but
Yeah.
I thought 42 and the initials on the pamphlet was what you guys wanted.
what will the DOL requirements for the broker and firm regarding turn in of the buyer agency agreement in 2023? On this particular one, brokers are already required based on the existing Department of License regulations to surrender all your forms to your firm. So we've already got this in place. So the rule is that when you have something signed, it needs to be put into the office. That needs to go that route and then also in command. And they're saying, and the law says within 2 days. So once you start uploading everything, just get it all done. And then a firm must keep for a minimum of 3 years. All right, I just wanted to get through those. I thought those had, just remember that as soon as reasonably practical, have a buyer's agreement and have it be in your file folder for command. That is just really important. And I loved, I think it was Julie that one day during class, she said, you know, I bought land out of state and the broker just said, okay, for me to, by law, to work with you, I need to have you sign this. I thought that was the best explanation yet and be real easy. Any questions on that?
Are sellers still paying buyer's commission?
I'm finding all the contracts that I see, maybe 1 out of 10, there's a special arrangement with a 41C, but otherwise most of them are pay as offered. Which reminds me, be sure to check that box. So I'm still seeing a lot of it. I think our sellers, if they want to sell their home, then let's include that in the price. we've always done it that way. And let's let it doesn't have to be generous, let's let it be competitive. I saw one the other day that came through for land that was 6% on the listing side and 3% on the selling side, and I thought, oh, that's cool. You know, it's not 4, 4, 5, 5, you know, or 2.5, 2.5, you know, that kind of a thing. I thought that was kind of neat. I don't
I
know.
would see that more and more in closings too, and on the purchase and sales that came in, that the listing side was higher. There wasn't as many 50-50 splits as in the last year, I would say, that I had seen before.
And our Northwest MLS is the first state in our state that worked together with legislation to be able to get this new law in effect to, it's not protect us from lawsuit, but I really loved last week what Ashley said. I do not want my sellers to find out from anybody that they did not have to pay. They're going to find that out from me. And my sellers are going to be very educated. All right. Any other questions or
One
comments?
thing I'd say is that in this market, if you talk to your seller, if you really want to have your house sell right now, it's hard to sell with high interest